OP12 releases August 22nd, and we have 6 new leaders available to play for the card game. Today, we're going to talk about deck profiles for each of these lists. We're going to actually give you an in-depth analysis on each leader so that you can have a better idea of where these leaders stand in the meta going forward and what you should probably be picking up singles-wise to go into the next set. I want to give you deck profiles for each leader so that you really know what to get ready to build as you want to test out maybe new leaders. Maybe you're a big Kuzan fan because you like the One Piece card game, and maybe you really like Navy itself, and that's just kind of your thing, and it's now Blue Navy, similar to Sakazuki back in the day, so now you want to go into Kuzan. So here is going to be 6 deck profiles. Everything is timestamped down below, so you can actually go directly to the deck you're looking for, or you can watch all of the decks and get an analysis on each one so you know how to play against them, with them, or whatever you're looking for. I hope I can help you, or maybe you just want to learn more about OP12 altogether. Today, we're also going to rank them from the best decks in the set to the worst decks. We're going to have 2 at the top, 2 in the middle, and 2 at the bottom. It's not going to go in any specific order until the end where we go over an actual rank system, and we'll get into that. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you're ready for OP12 like I am. We are literally 3 weeks away from OP12. It feels like it just hit OP11, and now we're already looking at PRB and OP13 and Goldie Rogers. So I'm excited. Let's talk about these deck profiles, and then we'll talk about a ranking. To start, we're going to talk about the Koala leader. This is a black yellow Koala, and this is a good one to start with because a lot of people actually really like yellow in the card game. I found out from just playing One Piece for so long. It's one of those generic couple leaders to play, used about life gain and those kind of things, and just know this leader is very interesting. It has a very different effect from most, where most leaders have an effect that helps you gain advantage. Well, this one kind of forces your opponent into not gaining advantage, I guess. So basically it says when this, well, I guess the first effect gets you advantage, saying when this leader attacks your opponent's leader specifically, so it must attack their leader. If you have 2 or more characters with a cost of 8 or more, draw 1 card. Now to start, just to go over how we fulfill this requirement early game, we have characters in our deck that have additional costs. So let's take Hawk right here, for example. He has +4 cost and gains blocker, so he will be an 8 cost character. Then we play a 6 cost character that gets additional cost, like Kuma here, which gets +2 cost if we do the effect, which we'll go over in a minute. So that's 2 8 cost characters on the board on our 3rd turn. Now we're able to gain advantage by drawing cards with that first leader effect. The second leader effect says once per turn, when your opponent plays a character with an original cost of 8 or more, or when your opponent plays a character to play a character, your opponent adds the top card of their life to their hand. This is a leader in a deck profile I personally made. If there is a lead effect, if you want to learn about this leader specifically, I have already done a deck profile on it, which will be linked in the description below or attached right here. Whatever I can do. I don't really understand YouTube, but it's still really weird. So anyways, I think that's going to be a really good deck profile. If you want to check that out, you should definitely see it. I run through a lot of games. I've added only 1 additional card, which is Black Spiral. We'll talk about in a minute as we go into the next leader, who's going to be Zoro. To start though, we're going to obviously have a search option in the deck. We are black, so we're going to look at the top 3 and then trash the rest of the cards, which is always good. So we get a Revo Army type or a Nico Robin character, and I really like being able to draw Nico Robin with Koala. The 1 cost Searcher event does not do this, but it does trash the rest of the cards. It grabs a Revo Army type and then trash the rest. So there will be situations where when you're playing in a high tier competitive format where sometimes you really need Nico Robin specifically, you're not going to be able to use Captain's a Symbol because maybe you're 15 cards deep and you haven't seen the Nico Robin. This is a very niche case, but this is something that high competitive players think about because this Nico Robin card's really good, and we'll talk about it in just a moment. To start though, I would like to talk about our leader effect and getting it live. So we'll go back to the Hawk here, which we were just talking about. It has a blocker and +4 cost. So as you can see, this deck does like to go second. So going second, we want to go into Hawk and then a 6 cost character that gets additional costs like the Kuma or the Nico Robin. So to start with the 4 cost characters on an even curve, our goal is Hawk. On KO, if your leader has a Revolutionary Army type, KO up to one of your opponent's original cost 4 or lower characters. So we cannot lower their cost. Obviously this is on KO, so your opponent would have to attack into you block, and then can pop their 4 cost character. It's very strong. It's similar to Lucky Roo, but now it's a black Lucky Roo only for Revo Army type, similar to how Lucky Roo is only for Red Hair Pirates type. Really cool card. I really enjoy this card, and I think it's underrated, and I'm excited to use it in the Red Black Sabo in OP13, and that's a way later thing. You also have Morley to turn this on, so we're running 8 total options to put our leader effect as active by our 3rd turn. Morley is a 2k counter that just gets +4 cost. It's really simple, honestly. It doesn't do much. It literally, these are just options to have in the deck, so when we need to get this leader effect and start drawing cards and gaining value, we can, because we run these 6 cost options that discard cards. Now we'll start with Nico Robin. If your leader is Koala or Monkey D. Luffy, this character gains blocker and +3 cost. On play, trash 1 card from your hand, so we go -1 card, but now we have 2 8-cost characters. And then if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, your opponent trashes 2 cards. So if they have 5 cards, they go down to 3 cards in hand. Basically, they lose their whole hand. It's really, really strong because now they have 3 cards in hand. You can swing 5 with your leader because we tapped out for 4. Now we tap out for 6. We swing 5 into the leader because you must attack the leader to specifically get that draw 1. If you attack into a character, you do not get it. If you target the leader and they block, you still get your draw because you targeted the leader for an attack, because I know that will be a question in the comments. So the idea is that we're going to gain value. It's going to force them to take that life. And now when they're going into 7, potentially 8 Dawn if they're a purple deck, or maybe even 9, now they've already taken the life because 3 cards, they need to take a life to draw more cards, and we're getting a lot of value. So we force them to discard cards, force them to take life, and now if they want to play a big body, they have to take another life. So usually if a deck is really, really just trying to go into a top-end heavy match, you can force your opponent down to 1 life by turn 3. And so it makes you into an aggro deck while also being very passive with the Kuma. Kuma is the whole opposite side of things, where you may trash 1 card from your hand, add the top card of your deck to the top of your life, and then this character gets +2 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn. Now this one only is 8 cost until your opponent's next turn, so it's a little less strong than Nico Robin, which just has +3 cost all the time if your leader is Koala, which it definitely is. And then it has the opponent's turn on KO, add the top card of your deck to the top of your life card. So if they want to remove this, you gain another life. So it's a really hard, sticky body that your opponent just can't remove. Now we are running a lot of other cards that don't completely synergize the leader effect, but the most important ones are going to be these next 2, which are also able to use going first or second. This gives you a little bit more options. So Kurasu's played in the deck for the going first curve. I like it because it gets +3 cost. So if we don't find our 4 cost options and we're going first, we can just play down this 5 cost Kurasu. It says when attacking, if your leader has a revolutionary army type and your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand. So what we could do is basically if our opponent has 7 cards in hand, so we play out Kurasu for 5. We don't get the effect until when we attack. So we can just go Nico Robin, force 2 cards out of our opponent's hand, then we attack with Kurasu, force another card out of our opponent's hand, then they have to counter, so they went from 7 to 3 cards in hand, then we can attack their leader with our Koala leader, and then draw a single card. Drawing a single card while your opponent just discarded 4 cards is absolutely insane. So really, really good, and it does change the order of operations of how you have to do things. You could Kurasu first and then play Nico Robin. Just know you have options there. But if they have 7 cards, either way, it brings them down to 3. Maybe it's better to attack with Kurasu. You did get my point. I'm trying to explain to you an idea. But you can Kurasu and then Nico Robin and then force your opponent down to only 3 cards in hand from 7, which is really, really strong. We're also running this Dragon here, which also turns on your leader effect, because you are probably wondering, well, what if they remove these bodies or attack into them? Or what if you want to use the blocker to block? Well, we can just play down Dragon. Dragon says place 3 Revo Army type cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. This is very important that we're playing the Koala and the 1 cost event to fill in the trash, because most of these other cards don't really fill up the trash. Now, anyways, now it says if your leader has a Revolutionary Army type, play up to 1 character at the cost of 6 or less. So we can go Dragon into Nico Robin, or Dragon into Kuma, or Dragon into Kurasu. We can go Dragon into Hawk if we need to, and all of these turn on our leader effect. These are all going to be 2 8 cost plus characters if you get their effects. You have to discard the card for Kuma to get the +2 cost, so this might be one of the worst options if you don't want to lose cards in hand, but you'll be able to draw new cards. So it really is not devaluing anything. Maybe if you have no cards at all, maybe it's worth it just to play out the Nico Robin instead. And sometimes you will have to set up, hey, I'll play down Nico Robin to discard Kuma to then set up for Dragon in the future in case my opponent starts me out. There's very neat situations where you need to pay attention to when you're going to play Dragon, how, and how many Revo Army type cards are in your trash. Just keep all these things in mind, because I'm kind of blabbering, but it definitely will help you in the future. Now we're running Kuma as a 2k counter. This is just going to be a, if you and your opponent has 5 or less life, play this card. Trigger body out of life is always going to be good. Perona is played in here. In my personal opinion, I like it because your opponent discards a card, or you give one of your opponent's characters -3 cost. Now, we always just force cards out of our opponent's hand, so I really like it just to mill cards, but there is a better option that was brought up to me recently. That's going to be Baby 5 here. and I'm interested in trying it out for sure. It has a trigger that just says draw 2 cards if your leader is multicolored, which we are. It's a 2K counter, and it has the same stat line as the Perona. So in hand, the whole idea is probably just going to be using this for counter, or using this as discard fodder for like Nico Robins and Kumas or whatever we need. But it's also a draw 2 out of life, which drawing 2 cards is always going to be strong. So maybe playing that for the card advantage, because usually you don't even play Perona, so at least you get some value out of life with Baby 5. It's definitely there. So think about that as an option to maybe tech in. You could easily just drop the Perona and just replace it with Baby 5. Baby 5 is OP12 specifically, so you won't be able to get this card until the new set comes out, but this gives you an idea of something you could be playing. We're playing Ivankov, which just trashes the top 3 cards of your deck on play, and then is a 3-cost 4K blocker. In case we do have to go first, I really like having the Ivankov to fill in the trash, because we can go Koala, fill 3 cards, or fill 2, and then Ivankov fill 3, so that we can at least have cards ready for the Monkey D Dragon, and we can be countering out aggressively. I will say with Koala specifically, I like to counter out aggressively. I find it to be very important, as you get to just build up a lot of life and tempo over the long time of the game. So the longer the game goes on and the more bodies you develop with Dragon and taking your opponent's resources, gaining life, forcing them to discard cards, you get so much tempo, so much strength, and I love the late game in this deck because you just force your opponent to take life while you spam out the board, and then you continue to draw cards, and you play very, very well. So watch the full video if you want to know more about Koala. This is going to be my in-depth breakdown. To finalize the last few cards, we do have 2 of the Sabo, which is Revo Army searchable, and it says your characters can't be KO'd by card effects until the start of your next turn, and it has a draw 2, trash 2. So it helps filter through the deck. You could also play it out with a Dragon, because it plays out a 6-cost or less, not specifically Revo Army type, but the Sabo is a great option in removal-based matchups, or when your opponent specifically grabs a card with removal, maybe they search a specific card that pops 5 cost or 6 cost or something. This really helps. I really enjoy Sabo. I think it's a good tech option. I don't think it's necessary, and it is replaceable in the deck. Just to be honest, straight up, this card is replaceable, but I personally really like it. I like having another blocker. I like the amount of blockers we run. It's really helpful to have that safety net, and a 6K blocker is really underrated because we're a 5K leader. So now a 7K attack isn't a 2K 1K. It is actually only a block in 2K. Now, of course, in situations that's worse, and sometimes it's better, but I want to give you some ideas while we go through this. It also gives you more options to play on the going first curve, so at least you have 6 options to play, or you can play a little off curve here if you need to. We're also going to be running Black Spiral. Black Spiral is used specifically for Zoro, which I was not going to talk about Zoro, obviously, until we got into it, but I think you need to at least know the Zoro leader effect specifically. It says ×3 Dawn activate main once per turn. If this leader has battled your opponent's character during this turn, set this leader as active, then this card cannot attack characters with an original cost of 7 or less. So the reason Black Spiral is so strong is because it negates that effect. Zoro is a very aggressive matchup, and it's really hard to beat without Black Spiral. So I found this to be an awesome option that you guys actually recommended in the comments to me. So I've been running this as a 2 of. Sabo really helps to filter and find this piece. Sometimes you will run over it with the 1-cost event, and you don't have a way to get it back. So it does feel bad when that happens, but of course, it's hard to run too many of these when it's specifically played for just one matchup. And that's basically all I have to say about Black Spiral. Ursa's Shock is also another card that I personally tech in, but you could replace this with something else, but with the strong ability that it has, I would not recommend it. KO up to one of your opponent's character with a original cost of 4 or less. So you tap 4 Dawn to KO 4 cost, that's just okay. But it says if you have a character with a cost of 8 or more on the board, you may instead KO up to one of your opponent's 6-cost characters. So it really helps into removing Cavendish, Tashigi, all these cards that we don't really have removal for. And popping a 6-cost character is always going to be good. It also does not say original cost, so you can technically pair this with the Perona in niche situations to pop a 9-cost character. Now that is a very, very big body. I 100% think this card's amazing, even just for popping 6 cost if you go with the Baby 5 instead of the Perona. I think this card's so great. It's really up to you, your playstyle, but at the end of the day, this card's replaceable, the Sabo's replaceable. I think everything else, except for the Baby 5 Proto and the Perona, I think you can switch those. Other than that, I think the deck is pretty well where it is. I don't think I'd change too much more. You do need a good amount of Revo Army just for Dragon alone. So I like this build, but you'll have to let me know. Maybe you have a different build that you can comment down below and we can look into that, because there's so many options with Koala. It's very open-ended and I'd like to know what you're building. So let me know down below and let's get into the next deck. I hope you're seeing that I'm going in a deep analysis for each deck. I'm talking about every card, I'm slow rolling it. We're taking 10 to 15 minutes per deck just to have a conversation and give you a lot of insight on the leaders. This is going to be the Sanji leader specifically here. Then we're going to go into Zoro. So this is an activate main once per turn, Dawn -1, activate up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type event from your hand with an original cost of 3 or less. Then as the secondary effect of when attacking, if the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal or less than the number on your opponent's field, add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as rested. So we are a 2-color 4-life leader that really plays around events and searching. So as you can see, there are a lot of 1-ofs, 2-ofs, 3-ofs, and so on and so forth. This is my personal build, and it's one that you can really customize to your own build. You could literally just play just Sanji, Reiju, and some 2K counters and call it a day. Me personally, that's not the way I play. This deck is all about Scribe, I believe is what it's called. I don't know. There's a magic term for what this deck does, and I don't play Magic, so I don't really know, but maybe if that helps you, Scribe, searching, I don't really know. Anyways, the idea here is that you just play a lot of events and that buffs up your character, similar to Purchase, but in a worse way. This deck is really fun to play. It's very interesting, but piloting it is not easy. So if you want a easy skilled deck to play, this probably ain't it. If this is your first deck, I wouldn't recommend it off the start, but it's a really good one that will teach you a lot about the card game if you do want to play this. We're going to be running 3 of the Jozu. This bounces one of your characters to return one of your opponent's characters, and I really like Jozu for that. Literally just to put down a body on the board and have a 1K, because there's so many cards in here that have no counter. I really enjoy having Jozu. You can also bounce back your own characters here, so we can return the pudding to research, or we can return our blocker because we don't need to block that turn, or we have an additional Dawn to play after that we can play back the Carne, so we can just bounce a character, play a character, and be perfectly fine in the same position we were, but except we're more well off because we bounced a 6-cost character. Jozu, I really like it, but this is a card you could cut. This is a personal preference, and just know that if you don't have this card, you can replace it with more of these events down here, or you can find a different boss monster that you want to run. Sora is just a ramp effect, so if you have less Dawn, you add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as rested, and then you draw a card, and so it's good. It helps with the leader effect, but it's mainly in here for a 2K counter. Drawing a card and replacing itself is always going to be good, and then ramping up a Dawn to maybe catch back up, or because you need specifically a certain amount of Dawn on the next turn to do a full combo that you're looking for. Maybe you need to get to 6 Dawn, so you go Sora because your opponent ramped up, so now you can go Sora and then ramp into Red Rock to pop a big body, where your opponent's maybe going into 8 Dawn, they're going to play Katakuri, you're going into 6 Dawn because you Dawn minus too much. I don't know, very specific situations, but Sora can come up, so having a 2K is good. You can always run a 2K counter Kaya, so Kaya is going to be a draw 2, trash 2. It's a firm -1 in hand size. You lose this card in your hand, and then you draw 2 cards, then you trash 2 cards. So you lose the card in your hand, then you draw 2, so you're up 2, and then you -2, so you're -2. You do the math here, 3 minus 2 is 1, so you lose 1 card in hand total. Kai is good, but I kind of ramp effect for certain situations, and I find this to come up a little more rather than needing the draw 2, trash 2. The 2K is still good, but you have enough, through the deck to find what you need when we get into these events, so I think you'll be okay. Carne is a blocker. It's a 1-cost chump blocker that says if you have 4 more events in trash, this card gains blocker, and yes, as you can tell, you will have 4 or more events in your trash. And this Gum Gum Rain, which is a 0-cost event, and discarding an event will get you 2. So it's really easy to put this effect as active. I mean, you'll get 10 to 15 events in trash depending on what you're playing and how many you actually find and everything like that. So Carne, really good card. Having a chump blocker in a deck like this that doesn't have a lot of counter cards is really, really good. We have Pudding here to look at the top 4 and grab a Sanji card, which is right here, or grab an event. So all of these options down here. Any event out there, not specific to one color, it just grabs any event. So a 1-cost searcher we can reuse with Jozu is always going to be good. You could bump this up to a 4-up and maybe down the Sora or maybe down the Uzuhachi. Uzuhachi is just really good. So up to personal preference, but personally, running at least 2, maybe more of the Pudding. 4 of the Sanji. This is a card that was like the Burgess. It gains plus 1,000 for every 5 events in your trash. Burgess gains plus 1K for every 4 cards in your trash, and it fills up the trash so much easier. So I don't like this because it doesn't count any of your other cards. I wish it would maybe count the other characters, but I understand why they didn't do that. If this character were to be removed from the field, though, by your opponent's effect, you may instead return 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck, or to your Dawn deck instead. So if you were to red rock this, I just Dawn -1, and then you wanted to Gravity Blade because somehow you have 13 total Dawn, which is literally impossible in this game, by the way, you just can't get rid of this. Like, there is no possible way to use an effect to get rid of this other than resting it and attacking it. So, I mean, your opponent has some kind of Zoro leader effect, yeah, you could probably get through this, because Zoro's really, really good into our deck specifically because it just removes our board every turn. I will say that. that matchup does kind of suck for this leader. Other than that, though, I mean, it's pretty good into a bunch of matchups, especially if you can get a few of these Sanjis on the board. It's just a really, really good card. Usohachi is, of course, one of the best 2K counters in all of Purple. If you have 8 or more Dawn, rest up to one of your opponent's 5 costs or lower. Just resting a 5 cost blocker or whatever to go for lethal can just win you the game. Usohachi is an amazing 2K counter. Reiju is going to be one of the other and most important cards. 4 of the Sanji and 4 of the Reiju is a must. All of these other cards, I 100% believe you can change in and out and do however you feel personally. The numbers that match best for you, you can change all of these for Reiju, for Sanji, every single time. Reiju says if you have 4 or more events in your trash, this card gains plus 2,000 power and plus 5 costs. You're a 9 cost blocker that also is 7k. You only had to play for 4 Dawn. It's really, really strong. With a 1k counter attack and the blocker, I mean 7k blocker, you can usually do this effect by probably turn 3. You know, 7k blocker, so it forces your opponent to swing really, really heavy into this card. And that 2k does not go away. Unless they have some way to negate it, I mean, it doesn't go away. So I think this card's really good. Reiju, really nice card. And yeah, definitely a 4 of in the deck every single time. We are running 2 of the Gum Gum Rain. It's an event that can ditch other events and put them in the trash. You could be running the Gum Gum Gatling instead. Gum Gum Gatling is also good. This returns a 2 cost or less to the owner's hand. The Gum Gum Gatling will ramp you a Dawn. So, I mean, Gum Gum Gatling is probably a more valid option, but this is a budget option. Both will be really accessible, though, once PRB2 comes out, because it will be both reprinted. It just turns this into a 3k counter, so I can just ditch one of these events with no counter and turn it into a 3k. Let's Crash the Wedding looks at the top 5 cards of the deck and grabs a Straw Hat Crew type card. So a lot of these events, because a lot of these events are Straw Hat Crew, it's just an event that costs 1 that searches through the deck and then finds the other pieces. So we can grab Sanji, Usohachi, or any of these events down here that have the Straw Hat Crew. Just note, specifically as we're talking about 1 cost events that search, this is a Land of or Wano Country type, and it looks at the top 3. So Let's Crash the Wedding cannot search the When You're at Sea, You Fight Pirates, but the When You're at Sea, You Fight Pirates looks for Straw Hat Crew, Kids Pirate, and Heart Pirates, so it can grab a Straw Hat Crew event. So just keep that in mind that this can grab Straw Hat Crew, but this cannot grab Wano Country. So I've messed it up personally sometimes. It's very specific, and sometimes you forget this is Wano Country, but keep that in mind when you are doing your 1 cost searches. That's why we run 4 of Let's Crash the Wedding, because it looks at 5, and it can be, you know, this looks at 3, but it can grab anything, but can't grab itself. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. Anyways, just trying to explain it so you do know that this cannot be grabbed from the Let's Crash the Wedding. We are running Concasseur, which is literally just a leader locked card to Sanji. It's really, really good. It says if your leader is Sanji, draw 1 card. Drawing 1 card is always going to be good. Just filtering through. When you don't need this card, you put another event in your trash and you buff up your Sanji, your Reiju, or your blocker Carne. It gives you options for sure. And drawing and filtering through finds you new options to play out in the future. Or you can use it as a counter event that just says if you have 4 more events in the trash, up to one of your leader gains plus 4,000 power during this battle. So you're running 4 4K counter events. This card is really, really good. It's mainly used for the defensive tool, but to filter the deck as well when you don't need it. Now, talking about 4K events, we'll go ahead and jump over to Gum Gum Giant. You should know what this does if you've been playing recently or just at all. This card's busted. Since OP09, you may trash 1 card from your hand, Dawn -2. If your leader is a Straw Hat Crew type, which we do, give it to one of your leaders plus 4,000, similar to Concasseur, except now you draw 2 cards. So imagine if Concasseur said get plus 4K and draw a card. If you did both of these effects, you lose 0 cards in hand. Well, that's just what Gum Gum Giant does. It turns you back to Dawn, which is a little more, it's stronger in this deck because it's hard to reach 10 consistently. Sometimes you get into a spot where you Dawn minus a lot, and I've done that myself a few times, but That's just from different decks. This deck itself doesn't usually do that, but this deck profile I built, but I was just giving you some ideas. But you know, the 2 just really doesn't matter, especially if you're at 10 Dawn, you go to 8, and the next turn you gain 2 Dawn, so then you go back to 10. It does nothing at all. So it replaces itself in hand, and then you can just go Concaster. So if you leave up 8 Dawn, you could technically go, what, plus 32k counter with the Gum Gum Giants and the Concasters. Absolutely insane. These cards are really, really good. We are running 3 of the Culverin. This just bottom decks a 4-cost character, and as you know, with our leader effect, we can just Dawn -1 to activate any of these effects, so we have just an extra Dawn. So basically on 4 Dawn, we can just tap 4 Let's Crash the Wedding. We can Dawn -1, bottom deck a 4-cost character or lower, and just get rid of it, like the annoying sticky cards like Lucky Roo, cards that just can't be removed, and that maybe change their cost, so it helps with original cost specifically, like Hawk even, that gets +4 cost we just talked about in Koala. It does a lot of work. This card is really good, and I think it's made for this deck specifically. It's searchable for Straw Hat Crew, and it can be played for -1 Dawn. The big card that Sanji gets is going to be Boof Burst, though. This is very, very important because it's a 3 cost, so again, fits the leader criteria, and it can go Dawn -1 to get one of these effects, to return one of your opponent's cost 4 or lower to their hand, which is just okay. Or if you have 6 or less cards in hand, draw 2 cards. Boof Burst is one of the most broken cards out there. If this was not leader locked to what we're doing here, it would not be good. I mean, it's good, but you could just play Sanji's Peel Off if you're going for a draw 2, but when you can do it for Dawn -1, this card's crazy. If this said Dawn -1 as the cost instead of 3 cost, this card would be played in every single multicolored blue deck out there. This card is really good, specifically for, of course, Sanji, because the Dawn -1, making it so free to draw 2 additional cards and filter through the deck and find more pieces and then put an event in the trash to buff up for Sanji and then keep the game going. Running 2 of the Red Rocks, just bottom decks any character in the game, and then has a trigger to bottom deck a 4 cost. This card is just generically good. It's Straw Hat searchable, and I really enjoy it. We're running 3 of the 1 cost events. Luffy's the man who's going to be King of the Pirates, which is also a name of a card that's played in Zoro, fun fact. It says if your leader Sanji, look at the top 3 cards and then just add 1 to your hand. So literally you don't even have to reveal it. I can just look at the top 3 and I can go, this one. And I just add it to my hand and give no information, which is very, very strong. It's not like Let's Crash the Wedding where you have to reveal the card to show that, hey, this is Straw Hat Crew. No, this card can search literally anything. It's really good, and it's only 1 cost. Now, searching top 3 is a little limited, but if you looked at top 5, that would be really busted. So I think they did this really well, and I like this card a lot. Finally, we have Brochette Blow. This says if the number of Dawn on your field is equal or less than your opponent, draw 1 card so it replaces itself in hand, and it's a 3 cost event so it can be played for Dawn -1, and the 1 cost events, just to go and add this in here, can be played for Dawn -1, but I think a lot of people don't really think about playing it for Dawn -1, you know, you try to get the high value of 3 cost, 3 cost, 3 cost, and sometimes you just can't. Sometimes you just need to put an extra event in there and filter through the deck more. Just keep that in mind if you do choose to play this deck. You can't just go Dawn -1 and look at the top 5. That's totally fine, because now you can play 3 for Sanji and get a free search. Like, might as well. Anyways, back to Brochette Blow. It replaces itself in hand, so you draw a card if you're equal or less Dawn, and if you play this going Dawn -1, you're usually equal or less, and then give one of your opponent's character -3,000 power. So it helps with Eustace Captain Kidd. That's the whole reason it's played in here. It's easily searchable, or if you don't want it, you can get rid of it with Gum Gum Giant, or you can use it with the 0 cost event, or you can just go Dawn -1, replace itself because you draw 1 card, play it for no purpose at all, maybe just minus down a blocker, or maybe you just minus down a character for no purpose, literally just because it's active and you just need to get rid of this card in hand. That's easily an option in this deck for just going Dawn -1. Now I will say you do have to activate your events before you attack, so it does change the order of operations with this leader. It says when attacking, so you have to attack to get that Dawn back, because it goes 1 into 3, well our opponent's only at 2, so it wouldn't make sense to swing, not get any rested Dawn back, and then go Dawn -1. So now they're at 2, we're at 2. When instead we're going to go into 4 now, but we could have been going into 5 Dawn. So you do have to, like, on Dawn, play Sanji, then Dawn -1 to play out Let's Crash the Wedding. So now you're going to be at 2 Dawn, your opponent's at 2 Dawn. Now you can attack, ramp a Dawn as rested, go to 3 Dawn, and next turn you'll be at 5 Dawn. And you continue this cycle every single turn. So now next turn, maybe you tap 4 for Reiju, and then you Dawn -1 to play out Culverin, you bottom deck the card they just played, then you attack your opponent for 5, you get a rested Dawn back, and then you have 1 extra Dawn, maybe for Concaster, 1 extra Dawn for Let's Crash the Wedding, or Luffy's the man who's going to be King of the Pirates, and that's kind of the way we're going to do things. I think we did a leader. I think we did a deck profile on this leader. If we did, I mean, it'll all be down below. So if you're looking for this leader and more information on it and how we play the deck, you can get that in the comments or in the description down below, the description of the video. And yeah, now let's get into the next leader. I think I gave you a good analysis on this leader, at least some good ideas on why we play certain cards and how the deck kind of went. Comment down below. I'll try to answer all the questions you have. A lot of these decks have been my personal builds, and here is another one. If you haven't checked out those other builds, we've done deck profiles on all of these leaders, Zoro, Koala, and Sanji that we just went over, so you can look in the description as you can see all the videos we've done on these leaders. Now this is Rosinante Zoro, a very, very strong leader, and I'll just go ahead and say it, probably one of the best leaders in the card game, maybe post-ban. It really depends on what gets hit and what happens, but this leader is busted. It says ×3 Dawn, activate main once per turn. If this leader has battled your opponent's leader or characters during this turn, set this leader as active. Then this card cannot attack characters with the original cost of 7 or less. So with this leader, we're going to go about the ins and outs of certain events or certain characters and how certain things work with the combos of this leader. So just know this leader to start off is really good. If you're wanting to play a strong meta deck that is semi-affordable, I would say it's probably one of the more expensive decks coming out, especially because people just know how good it is, and Cavendish, so literally just Cavendish. But other than that, this deck is going to be really good and pretty affordable for the most part. So this deck, I love it. I love Zoro so much. I play it a lot on the channel, and I'm ready for it for OP12. This is a slash attribute based deck. It's used for searching slash attribute cards, using Hiyori here, which says activate main, rest 1 Dawn. If your leader is Zoro, look at the top 5 and grab 1 slash attribute character or 1 green event card. So we can grab the 0 cost event here, which gives plus 3,000 and you trash 1 card from your hand. Dead Man's Game, which rests 2 of your opponent's Dawn or characters, or you get the counter event to give plus 3,000 to your leader, or the Luffy's the man who will become the king. We do that every single time. Luffy's the man who's going to be king of the pirates. Set up to one of your Rosinante Zoro leaders as active, so we can restand our leader without using that first effect first, and we can search it here with Hiyori because it grabs slash attribute or green events. We're running a slash based deck, so we're going to use Perona as well, which also says if your leader is a slash attribute type, look at the top 5 and reveal 1 slash attribute or green event, meaning that we can basically just continue to use these searchers over and over as many times as we need. Hiyori we can use over and over unless they run into it. Perona we can use the one time we play it, but that gives us 8 searchers through the deck and a lot of slash attribute. As you can see, slash is in the top right of the card in case you did not know that. So when you look at the top right of Koshiro here, it says slash next to the 1k pack, and so that's what we're looking for. We have Koshiro here, which is a blocker, and then it says if one of your 5 or lower cost slash attribute characters other than this card would be KO'd by your opponent's effect, you may instead rest this character. So you basically block out of the removal effect, which is very nice, and then you just rest this, and then they have to attack into this to remove it off the board. Now if this card is already rested, this does not activate, just keep that in mind. Similar to Shigi here, which also just helps with the removal based matchups. If they're bottom decking, anything like that, bouncing, whatever, when one of your green characters other than Tashigi would be removed from play due to your opponent's effect, you may instead rest this character. It's really good to help against removal, and this card is busted. It's a 2k counter, 3 cost character, and it helps with any form of removal. Running Shimatsuki Kozuburo, which just rests one of your opponent's 2 cost characters and then KOs a 1 cost rested. This is just okay. It's slash searchable and it comes out in OP12. It's going to be really affordable and easy to use. It does have some utility resting 2 cost characters, popping 1 cost characters, but once we get a better slash attribute character, I think this card will be easily replaceable in the deck in the near future, but as of now, this is the best option for a 2k counter. We are running Kawina in here, which Kawina and Tashigi are the 2 cards we'll talk about next because they're probably the most busted cards in the deck. Activate main, rest this card. Rest up to one of your opponent's character with an original cost of 4 or less, because we've already talked about leaders that give plus cost. Yeah, not now. Kawina says original cost of 4 or less, then attach 3 rested Dawn to your leader, and you just get your leader effect for free. So you tap 4, you rest a character for 1 Dawn technically, because you put the other 3 Dawn on your leader, and you just attack into their character, restand your leader, and then attack into their life. That's literally the whole goal of Zoro, is using Kawina and using Tashigi here to rest your opponent's characters, attack into them, and then restand your leader, and then attack again. It's always good, pure aggression. Your opponent has to choose between saving their board or saving their life, and you get to choose if you want to even attack their life after, because you don't have to. You could just totally ignore it, and if they want to save their characters too much and you want to burn out all their resources from hand, you can do that. You get to choose the tempo and way that you play depending on the matchup. This deck is very skillful, it takes a lot of skill, and it's a lot of fun though. So I 100% recommend Zoro as a leader for anybody to play or to pick up very soon here on the sim. Since we already talked about resting characters, we're going to talk about Tashigi, so we'll jump over here real quick. This just says, on play, rest up to one of your opponent's characters at the original cost. Again, original cost, very similar to Kuina, which I'm talking about some One Piece lore real quick. That's kind of crazy. Kuina, Tashigi, we've seen that before. You look at Tashigi, and you look at Kuina, and then you look back at Tashigi, it already messed up Zoro, so I get it. I get why you got lost, bro. They look so similar. Anyways, then after you rest that 6 cost original character, give 3 rested Dawn to your Zoro leader. Very similar. This card is broken. This is the searchable option, the most searchable option in the deck, the card you're always going to be looking for with Perona and Hiyori. Tashigi's amazing. 5 cost, 7k, going first or second. You can do whatever you need to. This card's really, really good. I recommend finding this in any searchable option you can, grab it, and go. We also have Zoro here. Zoro says, while this card is in your hand, it can't be played by an effect, so it just helps with the Mihawk, the 2k counter. It's the whole reason we don't play the Mihawk in this deck. If you don't know what Mihawk I'm talking about, I will pull it up. It is this 3 cost Mihawk that says if you have 2 or less characters, play 1 cost 4 lower / trade character. So it stops you from doing that with this Zoro, because that would be busted putting out that many characters, especially when you look into the secondary effect that says if your leaders are / type, this character cannot be KO'd in battle against / and gains 1000 power. This card is played specifically for the mirror match. So when we play into other Zoro leaders, they can just remove our board, we remove theirs, and it just goes back and forth. But if you put down this Zoro, your opponent does not run 1 / attribute character that could remove this, other than Hody Jones, possibly if they run the Hody Jones build, which we split between Hody Jones and DMG, but some people play 4 of one or 4 of the other, 2 of one and 0 of the other. 2 of the Hody Jones here, which is a strike attribute, or the Tashigi, which is a special attribute, or the Perona, which is a special attribute. Everything else is /. There's not one other way to remove this card in the mirror match, so it's really good, pure aggression, and continues to attack over and over and over again. Now, this card is really good. Cavendish is great for when you don't find Tashigi, or when you don't need Tashigi to rest a character, because some people will play into just not playing cards out early game. You're not going to play a 6 cost or lower character, because at the end of the day, we just rest it with Tashigi. You're not going to give me a 4 cost character you're more than likely going to rest and just remove off the board. So this gives us an option into Cavendish when they choose not to play that. I used to actually hate on the Cavendish in the deck, because I was always like, Tashigi, 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 win. But sometimes you don't get to go Tashigi, Tashigi, Tashigi. Sometimes you need to go Cavendish, Hody, get 2 Dawn back, Tashigi next turn. You slowly set up into these characters, and I was just going pure aggression. But that's when you learn this deck, when you learn that, hey, sometimes it's better to go Cavendish early, but sometimes it's better just to go Tashigi early, and just, there's different options in different situations, and Cavendish gives you those options. So I really like Cavendish as a card. I think it's really good, and of course, restanding 2 Dawn and being a $40 card makes it a pretty dang good card. We are running 3 of the X-Drake from ST24, the new starter deck for Jewelry Bonnie. It says if your leader is a Supernova type, which we just went over, we do, rest up to one of your opponent's cost 5 or lower, then set up to 1 Dawn that's active during the end of your turn. So it helps with our DMG to set a Dawn active to have a counter event later. You could also use this for Paradise Waterfall if you choose to run that, and we will talk about Paradise Waterfall. I'll go and bring it up, but we'll talk about it in just a minute. But this card just helps resting a 5 cost character when needed, when you run out of Tashigis, or maybe you don't find one, or maybe you don't need the 2k counter, so you'd rather rest the character or a blocker. It can help you win games in certain situations. It's pretty good. It's not the best option, but it's good to have. It's /searchable, rest of 5 cost, and gives us a Dawn active. Then we can put the rest of our Dawn on our leader, swing into that character, and then restand, and then swing into face, and go from there. We have 2 of the Hody Jones, rest up to 2 of your opponent's characters or Dawn, and then add the top card of your life to your hand, and has Rush. Really good card. Obviously a staple in green. You don't even have to think about it. You just play this card for the most part. You could remove it. You don't have to play it because we do have DMG, but hey, depends on the ban list. If this card really does get hit like people expect, you ain't going to be playing it. So maybe get ready to not have this card and just call it a day. We got 8-drop Mihawk here. It's a blocker, and then on play set 4 of your Dawn is active. Then you may not play 7 cost or higher characters. Now, there's a reason that there's certain decks that play Nekomamushi as a 2k counter instead of this X-Drake. I like X-Drake here for this situation as well. It's got options for sure. You could be playing the 5 cost Smoker, and there's a lot of options in this deck altogether, but I'll go over those in a minute. Restanding 4 Dawn, and then you swing with Cavendish to restand 2 more Dawn now allows you to play a 6 cost character, where now you could go Mihawk, attack with Cavendish, you have 6 Dawn, you play out Tashigi, you rest to 6 cost, now you restand 4 Dawn, or you get 3 Dawn on your leader with Tashigi, and you have 1 extra Dawn from your Mihawk and Cavendish combo. So now you can put that one extra Dawn on your leader and swing 9 into a 5k or 9 into a 7k or whatever you need, then restand your leader and attack again. Or you can save that one Dawn for your counter events. There's so many options here with this Mihawk. This card is just really, really good. And even if you don't have Cavendish, just restanding 4 Dawn with the Mihawk itself is already really good. Putting your leader effect as active, or getting Koshiro or Tashigi or Perona or Paradise Waterfalls or Dead Man's Game, like, this card, amazing staple for any green deck out there. You're going to be playing this in OP12, and I hope you get your playset soon. Well, August 22nd, whenever it comes out. We've already been over DMG and what it does, so we know what this one cost event really is. It's really strong for resting characters in Dawn. Now, what people are also playing in this deck as a different option is going to be Paradise Waterfall. Now, you usually would be running more Hoodie Jones if you do choose to play this, because Dead Man's Game is good, but just having something to rest on is really, really important. Paradise Waterfall says trigger, KO one of your opponent's rested 4 costs or lower, so that's if they attack you and you take it from your life. But the main part is your leader up to one of your characters gain plus 2,000 power during this battle, then set one of your characters as active. So what you could technically do, since it's a counter event, is you could block with Mihawk for 8. Your opponent swings 9 into you. You block with Mihawk for 8k. You tap 1 Dawn for Paradise Waterfall. This becomes 10k counter, and then restands the Mihawk itself. You can restand other characters, like if you don't want them to continue attacking into your Cavendish, you can just restand your Cavendish and leave your Mihawk sideways. I mean, so many options. So it really helps in the mirror match as well, the Paradise Waterfall does, because you can restand the characters if they play down to Shigi, and then they swing into Cavendish with 8. Well, now you can go Paradise Waterfall to add 2k and then restand the Cavendish, then give a 1k counter. Now they don't have another way to attack the Cavendish if they have other characters on the board to attack into it. Helps in those niche situations. It's a great card. It's not the one I'm personally playing, but I think it's amazing. I just need to find where to put it in the deck, because this is kind of the build I've been going with recently. Now, another card you could be playing is the Smoker, and then we're done with Zoro. This has Banish, and then Activate Main, set up to one of your Dawn as active. Then you cannot set your Dawn as active through other effects during this turn. So you have to Cavendish first, then Smoker for the secondary effect, but you could attack just in with Banish. Some people play this as a 1 or 2 of. It's also slash searchable. It's a 5-drop 7k, similar to Shigi, but it does have no counter. So if you add that with the Shigi, with Hoodie Jones, with Mihawk, with these bricks in case you do get them, it doesn't really work. Now, one thing specifically I want to talk about regarding Zoro is the leader effect. It says activate main once per turn. So when you activate this effect, that's when you cannot attack 7 cost or lower characters. But if I'm on a 10 Dawn turn and I put 7 Dawn on my Zoro, I swing 12 into a character, and then I choose to play my 3 cost event to restand my leader. Now I have 0 Dawn active, and then I can swing another 12 into a 7 cost or lower character, because the fact that I haven't used the leader effect yet. Now that I have 0 Dawn, after I attack 12 twice into that character, now I can restand my leader with the leader effect, and I cannot attack that 7 cost character. That's very important to note, that if you did choose to use that leader effect, right? If I go 12 into your character and you let it die, or you maybe counter out, and then I use my leader effect to restand my leader, and then I try to attack 12 into your character, well, I just can't. I literally just can't do that. So make sure to always use your 3 cost events first to restand the leader, and then continue attacking into characters if that's what you need. If not, you can go 12 into a character, restand the leader, 12 into life, and then more than likely it's game. But I wanted to explain that for the people who may not have known that there are niche situations where you need to use your leader effect in different orders and certain things like that you'll learn more when you watch the videos and the deck profiles I've already done to cover this leader, and they're commented down below. I'm trying to give you deep dives on why we play certain cards and not give you a full tutorial on each deck. Rayleigh here is going to be our next leader, and this one is very surprising. It says you cannot have cards with an original cost of 5 or more in your deck according to the rules. So literally anything that is 5 costs or higher, let's look at some. Like this Izo, you could not play it. This Rush Luffy, you could not play it. This Rush Luffy, you could not play it. Anything 5 costs or higher cannot be played in this red deck. You must play 4 costs or lower characters. Now, that must mean this effect's really strong, right? Activate main once per turn. You may reveal 2 events from your hand. Give up to 1 of your characters with an original cost or with a base power of 4,000 or less, plus 2,000 power during this turn. So we're just basically playing a bunch of chump weenies, and we're making them strong, and we're attacking our opponent, and we're doing our thing, and we're filtering through the deck and everything like that. This deck is really interesting. A lot of people hated on it when it came out, and now it's topped. Literally, it's topped. I'm pretty sure. I don't know that for sure, but I'm pretty sure. This deck is amazing. It's a slash attribute leader, so that's why our Zoro from our other match actually helps into this match as well. In case you did not watch the Zoro thing, we're talking about the 4 cost Zoro that can't be KO'd by slash, and that's why Buggy's really good. Buggy, Nami, Shakuyaku, Boa Hancock. To give you 4 cards, right, really quick. These are all searchers in the deck, by the way. Every single one of these is a searcher, finding another card to replace itself in our hand, and then we just reveal 2 events, and we get plus 2,000. We'll start with Nami, just looks at the top 5 for Straw Hat Crew type, and place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. Cool, so we can grab Straw Hat Crew types like Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, or this Sanji, maybe some events here like Gum Gum King Kong Gatling, and the Gum Gum Mulgun. Really great cards here to search with Nami, but if you don't like those, you can just go Buggy. Look at the top 5, reveal 1 red event, add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. So you can grab anything from here to here and down here. Now, Buggy also has a secondary effect that says this card cannot be KO'd when battling / attribute characters and leaders. So this is really good into the Zoro match because I can reveal 2 events in my hand with the Silver's Rayleigh leader effect, make this into a 5k attacker, and then attack 5, and you cannot kill this card. It's really, really good because Slash built decks, which they have already been building, basically just fold. They just fold. Even the mirror match folds to Buggy because Buggy cannot be KO'd to / attribute characters. Even stuff like Kid and Killer cannot remove this body off the board. They have to put something else into it, like a Shakuyaku, Nami. They have to put Dawn on these characters, or have to play a Luffy and use Rush and attack it, or do something like that, and it just don't work. So Buggy, underrated, 1 cost 3k, no counter, but really, really good. Grabs a red event and does what you need it to. We are running Shakuyaku. This looks at the top 5, reveal 1 Monkey D. Luffy or red event, add it to your hand, so we have more event searching, or we grab this Monkey D. Luffy, which is the most important card in the deck, but we're going to go over it in a minute. I'm going to keep you waiting because that would be boring if we go straight into it. So as you can see, we're searching a lot, and we'll go into this last final searcher, which is Boa Hancock, which does the exact same thing as Shakuyaku. Look at the top 5, reveal 1 red event or Monkey D. Luffy, put it in your hand, and it has a secondary effect though that says, activate main, you may trash this character, give up to 2 Rested Dawn to one of your leaders or characters. This has an amazing secondary effect because what we can do is play this on 2 Dawn, go into 4 Dawn, right? Now when we're on 4 Dawn, we can play this Luffy that we just searched out, which we'll go over in a minute. I don't give you the full insight, but then we can use our leader effect with Silver's Rayleigh, reveal 2 events, and give plus 2,000 to Boa Hancock, attacking 5 into our opponent. Now we can remove our Boa Hancock here and give 2 Rested Dawn to our Silver's Rayleigh and swing 7. So it's a cool little combo there that you can do. Obviously, you could save the Boa Hancock for later as well, and this is just a really good card. Another searcher for the deck. As you can see, those are very important in the deck. We have the Sanji here, which is a 2k counter, a generic 2k that's played in a lot of decks. It says, activate main once per turn, add 1 life card from your life area to your hand. This character gains plus 2,000 and gets 2 Rested Dawn. Well, now we can bump this into a 9k. So we just take a life to become a 9k character because we revealed 2 events with Silver's Rayleigh. A 9k is insane. Sanji, really good card, gets plus 2k from leader, plus 2k from the effect, and then gets 2 Rested Dawn, which is another 2k, 6k total on top of the 3k already on the card. Running 2 of the 3 cost 5k Zoro. This card cannot get extra attack from the leader effect because it is 4,000 or less, and Zoro is 5k. So just know it will not happen for Zoro, but Zoro is an amazing rush option you can play in the deck, similar to Kid Killer, which is also an amazing rush option that says when attacking, if your opponent has 2 or less life, this card gets plus 2,000 power. So you could go 4 Zoros, you could go 2 Kid Killers, 2 Zoros, you could go whatever combo you want. Kid Killer is not searchable in the deck because it's Supernova and Kid Pirates, so maybe going Zoro is better, but also a 4-drop 7k is really, really good. I'm not gonna lie. Zoro would be a 5-drop 7k because you'd have to attach 2 Dawn to it, and you'd have to attach those Dawn turn after turn, while Kid Killer just gets it 2k every time. 2k every time. If your opponent has 2 or less life, with an aggro deck like this, they usually do. Now we're going to jump back over here to the Sanji. This card gets plus 3,000 on your turn, so it becomes a 3-drop 6k power character. Then if you reveal 2 events, because the base power before it gets that plus 3k is 3k, which is lower than 4k, now you get an extra 2k. So it becomes an 8k attacker, and then on KO, draw 1 card. So it replaces itself, similar to all of these searchers who replace themselves, but these searchers attack, the Sanji attacks, they all are just doing attacks while replacing themselves. It's really, really good, and I really think that's the strength of this deck. Now, we are running this Monkey D. Luffy here, if you have 2 or more attached Dawn cards on the field, this character gains plus 2,000 power. So if you do use Boa Hancock here and you buff up and you give those 2 Dawn to your Rayleigh leader or a different character anywhere, even if you give 1 Dawn to one character and 1 Dawn to another character, any 2 attached Dawn cards are on your field, this character becomes a 6k. Now that is constant. That is not during my turn. It's not during your turn. It's during both turns. So just know that. But if the Dawn becomes unattached, you lose that extra power. So to give you a specific combo with this leader or this Luffy before we go into the actual secondary effect, the effect goes, if I have 2 Dawn attached to this Nami and my opponent attacks into this Nami and it gets KO'd, and those are the only 2 Dawn I have attached, I lose my 2,000 power. So that is very important to note with this Monkey D. Luffy. It has the strong effect, and why it's so strong in the deck. You may reveal 2 event cards from your hand, play up to 1 red character from your hand with 3,000 or lower power, then give up to 1 rested Dawn to your leader or one of your characters. So for 4 Dawn, we get 1 Dawn to our leader or a character. We get to buff up some bodies on the board, so we can swing 5 at our opponent, and then if we did put out little bodies last turn, we can buff up 2k to the Nami, make it into a 4k, play out the Luffy, get a rested Dawn, and put it on the Nami. Now we can swing 5 and 5. It gives us that ability of tapping all out, while also getting the secondary effect to play out a 3,000 power less, so we can now play out that Buggy and then replace itself in hand, grabbing a red event, or we can grab the Sanji and play that out. That's a 6k character on our next turn. We can play out the Boa Hancock and get 2 rested Dawn later. We can play out the Sanji. This card is really, really good because it's all these cards that make themselves stronger. Being a 5 life leader, also this Sanji gets a lot of value because you just take a life to your hand, your opponent tries to starve you out, add it to hand, becomes 7k, 9k, whatever you need. This card is good. Really, really good for the deck. Becoming a 6k, playing out many bodies, getting a rested Dawn, everything just fits perfectly with this card, and I hope you're seeing that's why this deck runs so well. This deck is made by this Luffy card and the leader effect combined. Now, just know, to start, when we talk about these events, you can reveal the same events over and over again. If I have 2 of this card, we'll just talk about the card name itself, and then we'll talk about what they do. If I had 2 of To Never Doubt That Is Power, if I have 2 of those in hand, I can just go reveal plus 2k, play out Monkey D. Luffy, reveal plus 2k, or play out another body or whatever. You can get the effects revealing the same cards every turn. I could hold this card in my hand till the end of the game and just reveal, and nothing happens. Nothing changes, and that they get no extra additional information until you reveal a new card. And the events, if they know what they are, who cares? Sometimes it's good to actually psych your opponent out, knowing that they know what you have, and maybe sometimes it forces you not to use it or forces you to use a different card. So, me personally, that's pretty freaking good. So we'll talk about the To Never Doubt That Is Power. This says give 2 active Dawn cards to your Silver's Rayleigh, which is your leader. Your opponent cannot activate blocker if that leader or character attacks during this turn. So if we had a Silver's Rayleigh character, we could put it on that, but we're actually going to put it on the leader. That leader becomes unblockable, and we have to attach 2 active Dawn to our leader. So unblockable 7k, and then we can attach more Dawn if need be. Or it has the 0 cost event that just says give up to one of your characters or Silver's Rayleigh plus 2,000 counter for this turn. So it's a 2k counter or an unblockable event. It's whichever you need. And so it's really nice. That's why we're only running these 2k counters, because these events actually also have 2k counter. We have Observation Hockey, which says you may attach 1 active Dawn to one of your Silver's Rayleigh. Look at the top 4 and grab a red event or up to 1 cost 3 or greater character. So we can grab Luffy, Killer, Zoro, Sanji. These are options here. Not a lot of them. The main one obviously being the Luffy or another red event we may need for later. It's good. It attaches an active Dawn, so we do lose the 1 Dawn, quote unquote, but it's another searcher in the deck. So now instead of the 16 searchers, we have 19 total searchers in the deck. We have Conqueror's Hockey here, which just says give up to one of your characters or your Silver's Rayleigh plus 2,000 power during this battle. Then you may rest 1 Dawn card if you did give all of your opponent's characters and leader minus 1,000 power during this turn. So if you rest 1 Dawn, you get a 10-drop Shanks effect, the one that says minus 1,000 to your opponent's whole board. That's what you get for Conqueror's Hockey. If I leave 2 Dawn active and I have 2 of these, I can give minus 2k across your entire board and get the 2k counter from this. So if you swing 8, and that's maybe your biggest swing, maybe you did things out of order, I know that's so stupid, but it's just an option. You counter out with this for 2k, you rest 2 Dawn, so that's minus 2k and a 2k, so they're 6k, because they got 8 minus 2 is 6. Now you give them a 2k, that makes you 7, so you're out of it, and then everything else gets nuked by 2. This card, really, really good. You play it as a 4-of every single time. I love this card, really good card. We also are running Armament Hockey. This is basically just to buff up the leader. This is really strong. I really like this card. You may attach one active Dawn card to your Silver's Rayleigh, give up to one of your leaders or characters plus 1,000 during this turn. So it helps with the unblockable math, because I could go Armament Hockey. That gives plus 2,000 to my leader, and the 2 active Dawn gives plus 2,000 more to my leader. Then I could activate To Never Doubt that as power, making him unblockable. So now I can go the additional 8 Dawn I have on my leader, and I can swing 17k unblockable to finish off the game. It's very important having this unblockable, because it just forces your opponent to be like, hey, I gotta make sure I have a life. And that's why this card is just so freaking good. This, on top of that, helps, but it's also a 2k counter when you don't need it. And most of the time you don't need this card. This is probably the most useless one of the zero cost events, but if you do need it, it's always there, and that's always a good option. Running one of the Divine Departure, rest 5 cards, KO one of your opponent's 8,000 power characters. This is really good into the 8-drop buggy, or the 7-drop buggy that just stops all 3 and 4 costs from attacking, because obviously we're a deck full of low-end characters. We're not like Bello Betty where we just fold to buggy completely, because we still have all these 1-cost and 2-cost characters to attack aggressively with, but we fold in a way of lose a lot of options in the deck. And these cards are a lot of bricks, like the Zoro, the Kid Killer. These are 1k counters at least, but these cards just become nothing in our hand if we don't have a way to remove that buggy before they go Mihawk Crocodile, and then they go into the buggy and just stop all the attacks. It's really good to have this just to remove that body off the board. Running 2 of the King Kong Gatlings. Now, this is not my personal pick for the deck. I actually stole this deck profile from One Piece Top Decks. Give it to one of your leaders or characters plus 3,000 power. Then, if your opponent has a character with 7,000 power or more, give up to 1,000 more to your leader or character. So, it's a 4k buff, and on trigger, it has to KO one of your opponent's 5,000 power characters. That's alright. It's not my favorite card, I'm not going to lie to you, but it can work in the deck, and I see why they play it, I guess. Me personally, I'm not really vibing with it, but hey, it is what it is. Bust up your leader more. Maybe you need a really big swing to end the game, and you have the unblockable. Sure, GG's, game over, on to the next. Finally, Gum Gum Mole Gun. This is a removable piece for the deck. It just gives minus 5,000 power to a character. Then, if you have a character with 6,000 power or more, KO up to one of your opponent's character with 2,000 power. So you have to have a 6k character, which is pretty easy with like Luffy or the Kid Killer after you attack, or maybe you go extra power to the buggy and attach a Dawn, because attaching a Dawn does give extra power during your turn. So then you can use that secondary effect to KO one of your opponent's characters. Just make sure you actually have the 6,000 power character. I've seen way too many people on the sim, in person, whatever, use Gum Gum Mole Gun, get it wrong, and just get no effect out of it. You minus the 5,000 power, but it's already over, turn's over, past turn, and I get my 5,000 power back. Just watch out. This card, you have to use it correctly or it gets no value at all. It's really, really a good card, though. It's really good to have removal. Popping a 7k is always going to be good, because you give minus 5,000 to one character and then pop a 2k, or you can give minus 5,000 to a one character and pop that same card. It's got options, and I love options if you can't tell. This deck is really interesting. I hope I could give you a good deck profile and idea. I have not played or tested this leader yet, so personally, hey, this one ain't me. This ain't me, straight up. These next few leaders are not me, but I think I give you guys pretty good deck list and help you out. So I think I'm pretty good at the game, so I've played against them a lot doing OP12 leaders, and I know how to play the deck and how to play against it. So we will have videos on these coming out very soon. I will try to link some other content creators maybe for their deck profiles, or some ideas on some gameplay from other, like I said, other content creators and how they would play the deck. It is a new day, but it's still the same video going over all of the leaders from OP12. So we're going to talk about Kuzan next, as we've already gone over 4 of the leaders. We have Kuzan, and then we have Corazon, or Rosinante as most people know him, in the card game if you just play the card game and don't know the show. So Kuzan has a very strong effect. It is blue navy, 5k, 5, with the effect that says, when you trash cards from your hand, due to your navy card effects, you may draw an equal number of cards from your deck. So if you trash 5 cards for an effect, you draw 5 new cards. So it's a lot of filter. Obviously, there's no strong effects that do trash 5 cards. That would be kind of insane. But for the most part, it's trash 1, trash 2, giving you a +1 or maybe a -1 in hand size, depending on what the effect actually is in the end. But for the most part, they're just strong effects that kind of leader lock it to Kuzan, because other decks don't really want to trash cards in hand and don't have a way to replace them if you do. So we're filtering through. We can play a lot of 1-ofs and 2-ofs in this deck. You can honestly play even more than this, just because the amount of times you can draw 2 or filter through 2 cards. Even cards like Sakazuki do it every single turn, and we'll talk about those in a moment. The goal of this deck is just to find the exact pieces you need for the matchup. It's a very high skill intensive deck that you can definitely have that consistency in. You just need to be a good player. You need to know life this deck to really be good with it, and the people who do will be really, really rewarded for the difficult matchups. Tashigi here is a Navy searchable option that looks at the top 5 cards and grabs a Navy card, which we are running a very large Navy package. I think the only few cards that aren't Navy, honestly, are Charlotte Pudding, Cavendish, and Jozu, and Red Rock. Red Rock's the other one that is not Navy searchable. So we have strong options that aren't searchable, but for the most part, everything else I believe is Navy here. Yes, 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 yes. Everything else is Navy. So you can search almost any card in the deck, you never whiff, and it's very nice. Now we have Sengoku. Sengoku's very strong. So basically, let's just talk about this. You trash 1 card, so you're -1. You look at the top 5 and you draw 2 cards. So we played a character and we trashed a card, we're -2. Now we reveal 2 Navy type cards from the top of our deck, or from the top 5 of our deck, add them to our hand, and then we draw 1 card because we trashed 1 card, so our leader effect allows us to draw 1 card. So we're going +1 in hand size here with Sengoku. Math just math to me. +1 in hand size is insane. It's literally just a Sanji's peel-off, except you get to choose what you want to discard, choose what you filter, choose if you want to draw first or if you want to search first, depending on what you need in that moment, because certain times where you haven't seen any of these cards that you can't find, maybe it's better to, depending on how many times you've already looked at the deck, to actually draw first rather than do the filter, because statistically you're more probable to actually draw that card, yada yada, whatever. I know that's very niche stuff, but at most part, Sengoku is just a +1 in hand size. That's all you really need to know, because this card is good, very good in Kuzan. I recommend finding it early game, just because if you go first into this, it's really good. If you go second into this, which a lot of times I believe this deck does want to go second, getting to 8 Dawn as soon as possible. Personally, I always play into the second turn, but if it's a great option going early. Yes, if you can get down Cavendish, it's just better because it's an attacking body that draws 2 trash 1s, replaces itself, and puts on pressure to your opponent. But if you do this on 4 Dawn, I ain't mad at you. I ain't complaining. I'm saying, hey, you did good. Or you can swing 6 with your leader, depending on just what you need. We also have Hina here. Hina's just a generic 2K counter, and we will bounce around to the 2K counter just to get them out the way, since we're going over Hina now. It says activate main, you may rest this card and trash 1 card from your hand. Then you draw 1 card, so just add that to the end of every single one that says trash 1 card. Now, up to one of your opponent's characters with original cost of 4 or less cannot activate blocker during this turn. So it just turns off a 4-cost blocker in the end game, so that's very important. Really helps you kind of matchups. I find this card to be pretty good. It's a low-cost character, and it removes bodies you kind of remove. That's kind of how this deck is. It's like teching in certain cards. Now, this is not the only 2K you could play. You could play other blue 2Ks if there's ones that you can think of you would like, but just know, like, you played Kaya and you draw 2 trash, so you don't draw 2 more because it's not Navy. With Cavendish here, it's not Navy. So when you draw 2 trash 1, you don't draw that extra 1 back. So just remember that. So if you're thinking about other 2Ks like that, that's not how it works. This is just a great option at the moment until we maybe get a better blue option. Right now, I think this is just the best one we have. We have Gion here, which is a 2K counter that helps into the Nami matchup, or any matchup that really just plays events, and they want cards in their trash, which I guess is really Nami. Even if he plays in a purple Luffy, they just return the cards. Your opponent activates an event, your opponent places 1 card from their hand at the bottom of their deck. Oh, they discard a card. Okay, fine. Gion, I thought, was the one that added cards from trash to the hand, or trash to the bottom of the deck, and I was like, well, that doesn't make sense. That wouldn't help. But this helps in Nami. It helps with purple Luffy. It basically just helps with any deck that plays events because they have to discard cards. This says your turn once per turn, so you can also even use this against Rayleigh, because Rayleigh even has the Conquerors Hockey event that we've already talked about. So I think this card's just really good. It's a good generic 2K. It's not going to be used 99% of the time, and normally you're better off playing something more aggressive like Cavendish. But when it is your only option and into certain matchups, it really does close up the matchup. This card can be good. It's a great usable 2K counter, and when you don't need it, it's a 2K counter, so you just get rid of it. So I like this card a lot. I like Gion. That's going to put us at 6 2Ks just in those. Then we'll talk about the 2 Zephyrs. This card just says on play, trash 2 cards from your hand, meaning that we get to just filter 2 cards out of our hand and find 2 new cards from the top of our deck. Then activate main, you may trash this character, so you just completely remove your own 5-cost 5K, and then return one of your opponent's characters at the cost of 5 or less to its owner's hand. So it's good because you can target what you want to remove, but it's not the best. Like, it's not like we played as a 2 of as a 2K, because there's better options to play out there. this card's just okay. For the most part, you're just going to use it as a 2K, or maybe you just put the body on the board. You can wait until you swing and then maybe pop the character so you at least get some value on the board, because tapping 5 Dawn to bounce a character is not great. Now, if it bottom decked the character, I think this card would be a lot better, but obviously just bouncing a card back to your hand, well, now you just play it again. So if you play it on Cavendish, restand 2 Dawn, do your thing, and then I played on Zephyr, bounce it back to your hand, you're like, okay, you lost a 2K in hand, and I just have to replay this guy for only 3 Dawn. So it doesn't do that much tempo-wise in the matchup. Zephyr's just okay, but it does work in some niche situations. Suru, on the other hand, I think is really good. It's a 5-drop 4K that on play, rather than activate main, trash this card. On play, trash 2 cards from your hand. So you don't have to do this, but you can. It's the same thing as Zephyr, basically, so you get to draw 2 new cards. Your opponent returns one of their characters to their hand. So if you can control the board properly, or maybe remove certain bodies, you can technically Suru and remove anybody in the game. If they only have a 9-cost character, they have to return that 9-cost to hand. There's a lot of movement here with Suru that I really like, and there are situations where this is actually the best card you can play, because I'm basically like a red rock, except you just get down a body on the board as well. Yes, it's a small body, but just returning like a 9-drop that they don't, they have 9-drop Sanji, well, that doesn't really do anything for them if they don't have anything set up for it, or whatever. I mean, good. It's not like, I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, Subaru every time, play Subaru every time. It's not really good. Like, it's not that kind of good. But it's a good option in certain matchups, and it's one that I think you get a lot more value from than Zephyr itself, because you don't have to lose any card advantage from it, because this, you just trash the card completely, or you have to wait a turn to trash it and then get value out of it. Well, this gets value on play right away, and as you know, we say getting value right away is always the best. Yes, Cavendish is nice. It's a really good card, but there's a reason we don't play 4 or 5 of it. Because, well, not 5, because obviously you can't play 5. But there's a reason we don't play 4 is because in some matchups you just won't get value out of it, and it'll just be a brick in hand. Yes, you can just discard it, but if you get too many of them, you can't discard enough, then you kind of fall behind. So I agree. I believe in getting value as soon as possible in most situations. Some situations you don't need to, but in ones like this, it's really good to have. Now we have Jozu. Actually, no, we'll jump back up here because we went over the 2Ks and jumped around a little bit. Obviously, Charlotte Pudding and Cavendish are 2 amazing cards. They're blue staples at this point, so you should know what they do. We've already covered Pudding, but in case you just skipped to Kuzan specifically, the idea with this card is just return your opponent's whole hand to their deck, and then they draw 5 new cards. So, obviously, if your opponent has 3 cards in hand, you're not going to play Pudding. But if they have 10 cards in hand, you're going to play Pudding. You just put Pudding down, they return 10 cards to their deck, and then draw 5 cards. Playing against blue, it forces your opponent to play around Pudding. They have to counter out more aggressively, meaning we can play a more control style, controlling the board, and if they choose not to, we just punish them with this card. Then we can control the board, or we can swing into their life aggressively and finish off the game. This card, absolutely insane, really, really good, and I don't think it's getting banned because so many people have called for it for so long, but I think this card is really good. That's the strength of it for the new players who don't understand how this card's so good. People have been asking for this card to be banned. It's so freaking good. So, love Pudding, good card, definitely a 2 of at least in the deck. You could play more, but I think 2 is perfect. Cavendish is also another one of those that you could play more, but I think 2 is perfectly fine. 4 cost, 6k power, draw 2, trash 1. Now, that sounds alright, but when you can do this over and over again, it gets a lot of value. So your first draw 2, trash 1 replaces the Cavendish itself. The next draw 2, trash 1 gives you +1 in card advantage. So also it acts as a pseudo blocker where your opponent wants to attack this Cavendish and remove it off the board. If they can't remove it off the board because it's a 6k rather than your 5k leader, so maybe they swing 7 into Cavendish rather than 7 into lead, well, that's just a 2k, versus if they were to swing into lead, it would have been a 2k, 1k, or we would take a damage. For me, Cavendish gets a lot of value. Pseudo blocker, when it's sideways, they want to attack into this. It's really good for us and our game plan. Porcelino is a good blocker. There are other options in the deck to play for blockers. I mean, there's tons of blockers, but this is the one that I personally play. Obviously, when you look through here, you could play a 1-cost chump blocker with no counter, like Vista or Law. You could play Boodle, I guess. It's a 2-cost. You could play Maynard because it's a 2-cost that's searchable, but it doesn't have any kind of synergy with the deck. You could play Duval to be able to look at the top 3 cards of the deck. Doflamingo to look at the top 5 cards of the deck and really set the cards that you're looking for. You could play Watermelon Brook because you know the staple in the deck, and you return a 1-cost to the bottom of its owner's deck, which is just amazing, sarcasm included. Yeah, options for what you could play. But even cards like this, end of your turn, trash one card from your hand, set this card as active. That doesn't work for us to draw one because it's not Navy. I mean, that Porcelino is probably just our best option right now, unless you just want like some trigger blocker shenanigans, which Boa Hancock could be. if that's something you're kind of feeling. Maybe you want to play blue, but you're a yellow player. That's something you could do. Borsalino, it just says if this character were to be removed from the field, you may trash one card from your hand instead. And with this being not on just our turn, being on either player's turn, if they were to remove this body, we can just draw one card, trash one, draw one, filter through the deck. And that's really good for us. Like, yeah, I'm out of certain cards we want to keep for the next turn, but it is what it is. I mean, that's fine. We can just replace them and search through and find more cards or find that card again, depending on how many are left in the deck. And kind of those kind of. Also has opponent's turn. If your leader has a Navy type, this card gains blocker and plus 1,000 power. So it's a 4-drop 6K with blocker that cannot be removed by your opponent's effect. I mean, just really good. The protection happens. These don't have protection. None of these really have any protection for our cards. So me personally, I'm always going for some kind of protection effect, and it's searchable in the deck. I think Borsalino's really good as a 3 of, possibly 4 if you're feeling like you need more blockers in the deck. We're running 2 of the Jozu. Jozu returns one of your characters to hand, return one of your opponent's 6 cost to their hand. It really helps on curve because we usually want to go 2, 4, 6, 8. That's usually just the curve we want. We have another 6 cost in the deck, but when we don't have that 6 cost character, we do have Jozu as an option. You just return one of your characters, bounce one of your opponents, and it's really good on tempo. I mean, to Zoro to get rid of Cavendish, or even to Shigi, I mean, to have them play it out again, but it helps to not get the attack a second time. Especially in the Zoro matchup. Obviously, that's the one that you used to Shigi. There's so many matchups, though, that just bouncing a 5 cost right after your opponent plays it just takes them off tempo, takes them off curve. I love Jozu. I think it's really good in the deck, and I think a 2 of is definitely necessary. Now, Kuzan here. Kuzan is probably one of the best cards and one of the reason everyone plays this deck. If you have 5 or more cards in your hand, this card gains plus 1 cost, so it can't be hit by Gravity Blade, which is very nice if you have 5 or more cards in hand. If you don't, obviously it can be hit by Gravity Blade. It's a 6 cost, 8k power, so stronger than Jozu, but it does not have counter, so that counter power basically goes to the power of the card actually instead. On play, trash one card from your hand. Up to one of your opponent's characters cannot attack until the end of their next turn, so we just stop a card on curve. So if they do play it on Cavendish or do play it on Tashigi, instead of giving it back to their hand to get value or replay it, we just stop it completely. We just say, hey, you ain't using that. You are not going to use that card or its ability. It's really good. It's just a trash one, draw one, up to one of your opponents cannot attack. So you get extra cost. You're a 7 cost 8k that you play on 6 Dawn that you also get to stop a card from attacking, and it slows down your opponent's tempo. I really like Kuzan. I think you should definitely be playing this as a 4 of, guaranteed in the deck every single time. Speaking of 4 ofs, I think Sakazuki is another one of those because it says, on play, if your leader has a Navy type, draw 2 cards. So it helps with card advantage. Just drawing cards is always going to be good because that's what blue does. So on play, Sanji Deck, draw 2, insane. And then activate main. Once return, you may trash 1 card from your hand, give up to 1 Rested Dawn to your leader or one of your characters. So it's nice that you trash 1 card every single turn to draw a new card and you get a free Rested Dawn. Basically, it just says give your leader a Rested Dawn or give your character a Rested Dawn every single turn. This card is really good. So when you draw those 2 cards, it may not be cards that you need, so you can just trash and draw 1 more. So it's draw 3, trash 1. This card is absolutely busted for having that effect. Draw 3, trash 1 is always going to be good, and it can be used turn over turn over turn. So the longer this card's on the board, the more value you're going to get getting Rested Dawn, and that's kind of the idea with this deck. Using Garp, which we're going to jump over Aramaki real quick to explain why we have these 8k characters, because of Garp. Trash 1 card from your hand, draw 1, of course, because of leader effect. Play up to 1 blue Navy character with a power of 8,000 or less, other than Garp from your hand. So we're trying to play out these characters with the Garp here. So this is going to spam out other bodies on the board and be very strong tempo play on 8 Dawn. That's why we're going 2, 4, 6, 8, because we go 2, maybe Searcher, something like that, or maybe nothing at all. Screw it, who cares? Then 4, we go Sengoku. We find all the pieces we need. We maybe find the Kuzan. We draw into a Cavendish for later, or Borsalino, whatever. And then we go into 8 Dawn, or 6 Dawn. We played on that Kuzan we were just talking about. Then we go into 8 Dawn, and then we played on Sakazuki, or Garp into Sakazuki, and we have an 8k, an 8k, an 8k, a 3k Sengoku, which can actually attack. I mean, really strong tempo plays here with Garp. Aramaki is a 1 of in the deck. It's a blocker, so you get an 8k blocker, 8 cost 8k blocker with the Garp, but it also has the activate main once per turn. Discard 1 card from your hand, return 1 cost 2 or lower to the bottom of its owner's deck. This character gains plus 3,000 power. So it gives you some power if you need, either removing one of your opponent's 2 costs or one of your own 2 costs, depending on what you need. 2 costs are lower, of course. The only one we really have is Tashigi, but it can get rid of chump blockers, which is really good. It's necessary in some matchups just to remove those bodies off the board and get them up out the way. You may not get value out of the plus 3,000 during your turn, because obviously it's during your turn that you can activate this main. It won't happen where you get the 3,000 on your opponent's turn, but you still get value out of just removing a body off the board. Or maybe you can use this aggressively when you don't need a blocker to swing 11, and that's just a lot of added pressure. An 8 cost 11k is absolutely insane, so if you can use this effect, it's really good. You also discard a card and you draw cards from that effect, so that is also very good. Drawing cards is always good. Filtering through the deck, as you can tell, is always going to be Kuzan's name of the game. This is literally just made to go second, so we're going to be playing, like I said, Garp into all these big bodies over and over again. There is another thing that you'll notice with people who play Kuzan that I find to be very annoying. In the early game, sometimes when they don't find their perfect pieces, they will do a bunch of small attacks, or even into the late game, using these 1-cost characters, 3-cost characters. A good player will actually swing Sengoku. There are times where it's a better play to swing 5 with your leader and 5 with Sengoku and try to aggro that person down or force cards out of their hands so that you can control their board later, because now I'm going to just take the 5, not really thinking you're going to attack me again. You're going to put 2 Dawn on Sengoku, and now I have to counter, or I'm going down to 2 life already if I'm a 4 life leader, or I have to go down to 3 life already if I'm a 5 life leader. And it's like, yeah, but the next turn, if you do it again, or you swing bigger, or you play big bodies, like I kind of is developing with this deck, so a good player will know when to do these, and it's something I'm still even learning with this deck because I'm not the perfect Kuzan player. But I will say, if you're looking for someone who's really into Kuzan, Marineford TCG on YouTube, he is a big advocate for Kuzan. He said it's going to be one of his main decks going into OP12, so I'd check out his channel. It'll be a good time to learn more about Kuzan, specifically from a Kuzan player. Now we have Ice Block Pheasant Peck. I always call this Pheasantipity or something like that. I always have some weird name for it. Obviously that's a Pokemon, but anyways, tap 1 Dawn, up to one of your leaders or characters gain plus 4,000 power during this battle, then trash 1 card from your hand. So you do, to clarify, you get the 4,000 first. So if you have no other cards than Pheasant Peck, you actually get the plus 4,000 still. You can still use this ability. But if you have 2 Pheasant Pecks and you use 1, you must trash the other one from your hand, then draw a new card with your leader effect. So just keep that in mind. If you have no other cards, you can use this. If you have 2 cards, you must discard whatever card is left and then draw 1 new card. This is an amazing card. I mean, it'll card -1. So you go play this card, which is 1 card out of your hand. Then you trash 1 card, which is 2 cards out of your hand. And then you'll draw 1 new card. So it's not like Gum Gum Giant. It is not the same level as Gum Gum Giant. It's actually a card -1 in hand. A 4K counter for such a low cost in a Navy deck is insane, I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't be surprised if I did see someone like a Nami pick this card up and play it in the deck, because a 4K counter for 1 Dawn is insane, but I don't know if trashing 1 card's too heavy. I mean, they have cards that trash cards in hand, like Gavel or whatever. Gavel Pitch, but Gavel Pitch trash 2 from the top, I believe, so maybe it's just not as strong. I don't know Nami that well, but it's one that could be interesting to tech into some other decks for sure. Even though the trash 1 is there, it's still a really good 4K counter. I recommend using this 100%, 4 of in the deck. This card is so good. When you don't need it, you just get rid of it. Or you can use it early game. You lose 1 card in hand, but you still get the draw power. So filtering through the deck is always going to be good. Running 2 of the Red Rock and 2 of the Gravity Blade, this just gets rid of anything in the game, anything that is on board with a trigger to bottom deck a 4 cost, while this gets rid of 2 6-cost characters or lower, and the trigger gets rid of a 5 cost. Removal is always good. It's what blue is known for, is drawing, hand control, and removal. The thing about Kuzan is you get every single piece. So Kuzan is going to spam the board with Garp and into other bodies, stopping you from attacking, while searching through the deck, scry, finding all the pieces they need, while also trashing cards to draw new cards to filter through the pieces they need specifically for the matchup. So if they need Red Rock, they're just going to drop their Gravity Blades and then grab, draw into draw, and continue the game on that way. Oh, and then when you have too many cards in your hand, I'm going to drop this Pudding, remove all the cards from your hand, then I'm going to play a Kuzan, stop your card from attacking that's on the board, and then I'm going to attack my 5, 8, and then a 9 with Sakazuki because I get 1 rested Dawn from a secondary effect, and I get to draw and filter a new card. And yeah, maybe I have a Dawn active for a 4K counter in hand, and I have a couple 2Ks that do have value the next turn whenever you want to play something, and I just go Suru, get rid of it, and that's going to be game. This deck is really good. I think you can see it's got a lot of high tempo plays, and I think I'm going to definitely be toying around with it as well, but I just want to give you guys more outlets to play, learn Kuzan, and kind of goes. So definitely check out Marineford TCG, as he's going to be deep diving into this a lot more than I will be. I'm going to probably be the Zoro guy, and he can take Kuzan. We'll allow it. We'll go head to head a little bit and see how that goes. But anyways, on to the next deck. We're going to Corazon, Rosinante. They always say leave the best for last, and that's what we did here with Rosinante. Of course, if you know this deck, you know I am joking. It's a 4-life leader with 5,000 power. It's the yellow and purple, which is a very interesting color combination I was really excited for. But when you read the leader effect, you're like, what in the heck are we doing here? If your Trafalgar Law would be KO'd, you may instead add the top card of your life pile to your hand instead, and then activate main once per turn, Dawn -1. During this turn, the next time you play a Trafalgar Law from your hand, with a cost of 4 or more, that cost is reduced by 2. So no, you can not Dawn minus and get stronger, play this out for free, or play this out for 1. It must be a 4-cost character, but it's cool that you can Dawn -1 and then get this effect that next time you play the Trafalgar Law. Really cool, actually. So we have a bunch of Trafalgar Law, as you can see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 total laws in the deck. 8 if you count the 1 cost, I believe. I think that's how math is math. And I'm excited to test the deck today. Obviously, there's a lot of Dawn minus. There's adding life to your hand. Being a 4-life leader, it's hard to do the first effect while also trying to spam the board with the second effect. That's what I find personally. Now, this does just say if your Trafalgar Law would be KO'd. That is by battle as well. So usually the best option to beat Rosinante is just aggro them down in the face, and the best idea for Rosinante is to stay alive as long as possible. We're going to go over all the Trafalgar Laws first. Obviously, this looks at the top 4. Grabs a Straw Hat or Heart Pirates type, which of course Trafalgar Law is a Heart Pirates type. It is not leader locked or name locked where you cannot grab Trafalgar Law. This can search itself. Speaking of searchers, we have Rosinante, which looks for just Trafalgar Law, so it's another option in the deck for Heart Pirates searchers and a Trafalgar Law searcher. We can find both pretty actively. Normally we find what we need. I don't think there's any more searchers in the deck, which is totally okay, other than the Trafalgar Law here, which just looks at the top 5 for a Heart Pirates. If your opponent has more Dawn cards on the field than you, look at the top 5 and then reveal 1 Heart Pirate. So the weird thing is this is when attacking, so how it would go is 1 Dawn Trafalgar Law, 3 Dawn Trafalgar Law, and then Dawn -1 to play out Trafalgar Law, and then attack with this Trafalgar Law, and then when attacking, now you get to look at the top 5 and grab Trafalgar Law. And I'm just going to keep saying Trafalgar Law. That's what this deck is. So that's kind of the options we have and how we play the deck. You could also just save this if they try to remove it to get another search off later in the game, but you will be 1 Dawn behind your opponent. So managing your Dawn count is one of the most important things with this deck, and it's very hard to do. So if you're someone who's really good with Dawn management, this may be the deck for you. We have this Trafalgar Law, which is new as a promo from in OP12. That's when at least they got it in Japan. Who knows when we get them in English? I don't know when, because that's what we get in English. Blocker, and then on play, if the number of Dawn cards on your field is less than your opponent's, add 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck as rested. This card's good, but it doesn't work with the 3-cost law, sadly. Buddy! So it doesn't work with the 3-cost law, because now if I go Dawn -1, it's -2 to play this. Dude, please stop. Like I said, no, it does work with the 3-cost law, because how it works is this is activate main once per turn during your turn the next time you play it. So you just don't play this, so you go Dawn -1, now next time I play Law, it's 2 lower cost, then you can play out or attack with 3-cost Law, and then you can attack with your leader, and then you can play out this Law, which is very confusing, the combination there, and then this will get you your Dawn back, so you have a 4-drop 6K, get your Dawn back, so you're back to even in Dawn to keep your Dawn management high. I know it's very difficult to do, but that's kind of how this deck works. So cool that we can do that. Then we have 3 more Dawn, I guess, after that. So we could maybe attach some Dawn, or maybe play out like a Tony Chopper blocker that gets us a rested Dawn back, which wouldn't really work because we'd be above our opponent's Dawn count in that situation. You could play Beppo, which every time you go Dawn -1, you get plus 1,000 during this turn. It's a 2K counter, and it's a actual searchable card in Heart Pirates. So any of these cards that search Heart Pirates could grab Beppo as well. But I'm not fully seeing how it all works there, but it's an option in the deck, and then we're on 5 Dawn because we go 3 into 5, and when we play 1, 3, 5, Dawn -2, so it's 2, or Dawn -1, so it's 2 lower cost, but then we have to use that 1 Dawn before we go Dawn -1, or we're just wasting the Dawn. This deck confuses me, man. I just don't get it. I'm just going to be honest, guys. I just don't understand this deck. Trafalgar Law here is Dawn -1. Rip 2 cards from your opponent's hand if they have 7 or more cards. So they trash 2 cards from their hand. I believe it is at random as well. So you do get to control their hand and grab 2 random cards. They don't get to just choose 2 cards to trash. Really good, and your opponent really has to play around this so they can never have 7 or more cards. So you could basically, if they have 6 cards in hand, I can swing 7 at them, forcing 2 cards out. Because if not, I can go Dawn -1, and then play out this Trafalgar Law, and then rip 2 cards from their hand. Yes, I would go Dawn -1, or I could just play this out for 4 if I have enough Dawn to just swing heavy and play out the 4-drop Law, so I don't go too low in Dawn. Yes, again, it's all about managing Dawn. It sucks. It's really annoying, and that's what this deck is. It's kind of annoying. Trafalgar Law here is the big boss monster of the deck. This is the 7-cost Law, the one that all of the deck is really played around, because you have this 7-drop Law to gain life, but the main one is this guy right here. If the number of Dawn on your Dawn field equal or less than the number on your opponent's, add up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and set it as active, so we get to ramp Dawn back, and then your Don Quixote, Rosinante, and your Heart Pirates gain plus 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So we become a 6k leader, and all of our characters get plus 1,000 power. So our Law blocker here would be a 7k blocker. This would be a 6k blocker, 6k attacker, and so on and so forth. It makes all of our bodies on the board bigger, and it really helps. It's our Dawn back. It does everything we need it to, because we Dawn -1, we played this for 5, which is obviously an option in the deck if we're going into 6 somehow. We don't really have any ramp, but that's somehow we get to 6, maybe we go second, and we don't Dawn minus early, so we can play this out later. I don't know. Again, I really don't understand this deck. I haven't played around with it enough, so I'm still learning it myself. Then we can use that 1 Dawn, then play this out, then we become a 6k leader, and we get a Dawn back as active, so it's always nice to have an active Dawn for maybe some kind of counter event, if we played any, which you'll see down here. We definitely do. Cool part is, obviously, like I said, our leader effect saves these cards from being KO'd when they attack into them, so we can just continue to have a very aggressive board. We can block out for free and then take a life or whatever, I guess. I don't think that really makes any sense to block out of an attack. Maybe we block if they're attacking like something that's not Law, but most of the cards are Law. So I don't think that works for us. I don't know. I'm not cooking. My deck, not my pick for a good deck. I would not be playing this personally. And this is actually the worst deck in the set. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. This card ranked at the bottom when we do the rankings in just a moment. We are running X-Drake, which says you may rest this card if the number of life is less than the number on your opponent's. Rest one of your opponent's 4-cost characters. So if you do need to go for game randomly at the end, you can do it with X-Drake here, resting 4-cost character if you can rest one of their and only blockers. We have this Law right here, which is if your leader has a supernova type, which we don't, and you have 5 or less life, you play this card. Well, we don't. So it just don't work. It just don't work if your opponent's life total and yours are 5 and less. It doesn't really matter because it doesn't work. It's just a Trafalgar Law promo to have in the deck, to have more Trafalgar Law. That's the only reason it's in here as a 2k searchable target. That's it. It's not used for any other option. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't trigger out. It's a vanilla 4-drop 5k. It's not good. It's just a 2k counter, just to be honest. We have this 6-drop 7k blocker Law. This is a new card in OP12 that can be played out for 4 Dawn with our leader effect, going Dawn -1, which is really cool and all, but it's a blocker, 6-drop 7k blocker. That becomes a 6-drop 8k with this Trafalgar Law right here. An 8k blocker is always going to be good because it's higher than your opponent's 7k attack, meaning that if they put 2 Dawn on a character or they swing a 7k body like a Sanji Pudding, you can just get through it with blocker Law for free, and you don't have to give them a single card from hand. We also are running Trafalgar Law because you can reveal a supernova type character, which all these laws for the most part should be supernova type, and then you add it to the top of your life. This Trafalgar Law's not. This Trafalgar Law's not. This one's not. This one is. Okay. Anyways, and this one's not. Holy cow. So we only really have X-Drake, this Law, all the yellow laws. All the yellow laws are supernova to help out. But anyways, you add it to your life face down, then add 1 Dawn to your supernova type leader. And of course, we're Rosinante. We're Navy and Don Quixote Pirates. We're still not supernova type, so it doesn't really help. So specifically need to have one of these supernovas so you can have one of your other 2 7-drop laws, 3 of this blocker, 4 of this Law, and then 3 of the X-Drake, which is probably the reason we play the X-Drake, because it's not even searchable in this deck. It's just in here as a, hey, this can save me in a pinch, or it helps me because obviously it's a supernova I can add to my life with this 7-drop Law. Running 2 of the Gamma Knife, which is searchable with the Heart Pirate Searchers, give 1 character minus 5,000 power. Running 2 of the, this technique extinguishes all sound created by your influence. Rosinante event here that with Trafalgar Law. It's really cool, their little combo back where Law's thinking about Rosinante. Pretty cool little sweet moment. Up to 1 of your Trafalgar Law gains plus 2,000 power during this turn. If that character attacks during this turn, your opponent cannot activate blocker. So it just makes 1 of your Trafalgar Laws unblockable and then gives you back the 2k that you use on the event. We're running 1 of the 0-cost event to help with some of the bricks in the deck, because obviously we're running 4 of this Law, 4 of this Law, 3 of this Law, and then 4 of this Law, plus all of these events. There's a lot of bricks in this build that this person gave us from One Piece top decks. Me, I ain't getting it. Probably not running zero cost event, maybe probably just not running Gamma Knife, maybe I'm just not running this many bricks, maybe I'm not even running Unblockable, maybe I just fold. I just walk up to a locals with this deck and I just fold. Me personally, again, I don't get it, but if you're looking for someone who does, hey, I will link a video for somebody who has played this deck or maybe talks about enjoying this deck down below. Even if I don't know them personally, I will try to give some support and some love. And if you know anybody who's really good with this deck, let me know, because I'd love to learn it. I love Law. If you know this about the channel, I love Law. I love red-green Law. I love yellow-green Law. Like, I love this deck. I love Supernova Law, but Rosinante, I'm just not understanding it completely. I'm excited to learn more about it, but personally, I just don't think it's the deck for me. We are running Room, which is, of course, the event we got in OP10. If you have one of less life, get up to one of your leaders or characters plus 3,000 power, then set up to one of your 5 costs or lower as active. So if we make this blocker Law, right, into a 7k, and our opponent swings 9 at us, what we can actually do is initiate the blocker step first, because the blocker goes first, because it has plus 1,000 power from this Trafalgar Law. So this is now a 7k blocker. We block, put this card sideways. Now we activate Room. That gives it plus 3,000 power to our blocker, so our 7k becomes a 10k blocker, and then it restands the blocker itself. So now we're a 7k blocker that's active with a 3k counter on top for this specific attack. So now we can also get out of the next attack for free if we need to just block out. It gives us basically a double blocker here with the Room. I actually really like this card, and I think it's underutilized in a lot of decks. I think the hard part is just having 1 or less life. If it did not have this effect, it would be played in every deck, because it's just Paradise Waterfall at that point, but instead this card gives us the 3k power instead of Paradise Waterfall, which gives us a 2k counter. This card, really good. I wish it didn't have that sticky part where it's 1 or less life. I wish it would say at least 2 to give us a little bit more options. Then this card would actually be very, very playable, but without that, it's only played in certain decks. We're also running the I Love You event, up to one of your leaders or character gain plus 2,000 power. Then if you have 2 or less life cards in your life area, add up to 1 Trafalgar Law from your trash to your hand. So if you need to get one of these big bodies back, or you need to maybe get a blocker, or you need just any of these options at all, 2k counter, you can 2k counter and then tap 1 Dawn, get your 2k counter back, and then counter out again for a 6k counter. I'm pretty sure you can do something like that, because the cards hit the trash as soon as you do hit the counter. That's just how counter works. As soon as you counter, it does go to the trash. It's the same as when you activate events. So if an event says you need 10 cards in your trash and you have 9, as soon as you activate that event, it becomes the 10th card. I believe it's the same with this I Love You. I could be wrong, because I know in certain situations where Gecko Moria, if you played a card over top of Gecko Moria, if I play Gecko Moria and then I play a 4-drop on top of my 2-drop, and then I can't grab that 2-drop out because it's not instantly removed, they are played at the same time. I don't know how it works or which situation it works in. If you comment down below. Anyways, that's Rosinante. Your idea is basically just go wide with bodies on the board, going Dawn minus and really controlling your side of things on the Dawn minus side. You're just trying to not go too low in Dawn. I think that's basically the big thing you'll learn about this deck is you're just Dawn management. If you're good at Dawn management, you could be a good player with this deck, especially because you also have to control your life at the same time, keeping your bodies active or alive when you can. In certain situations, obviously, though, you just have to let them go. I think the one of Chopper blocker is good. I think I'd probably actually go up a few Choppers. Personally, I just really like this card to help get our Dawn back. We're running 11 total 2Ks. I think that's very good for the deck, and some blockers to keep us alive. I think that's always going to be nice. And then we obviously have the big boss body Trafalgar Law. I like this card a lot. I like actually the artwork. I actually will probably get this card myself just because I want it for a personal collection. But this leader, I probably won't play it. I'll test it out. I may do a locals video if enough people really want to see this leader. But for me personally, I don't think a lot of people are asking for it. But if you are, comment down below. And we can maybe do a video on it very soon for you. And maybe I can bite my tongue and my words and eat them. And we love the deck at the end of the day. So we'll have to find out for playing. I haven't tested with it at all, but I'm excited to in the future. Now it's time to rank each and every single one of these leaders, because obviously you need to know what is best from worst. So, of course, we're going to start with the best deck in the format, Roronoa Zoro. I don't think I keep this hidden. I think this is still the best deck, depending on the ban list, because the OP12 ban list could actually hit this leader because of how much strength it had in the format. When you look into the Japanese format, the 5-cost Ishigi was just really overpowered, and a lot of people still say it's overtuned. So I think this card could easily get banned, or maybe it gets put down to a 2 of the deck, or maybe a 1 of. It's one of those kind of cards that is just so strong it's hard to keep in the game and in the format. Now, the next deck I would probably put up there is actually Silver's Rayleigh, deck that a lot of people hated on and said was never going to be good, and then people started testing it and showing the actual willpower and strength of Rayleigh himself. That man's got the Conqueror's Hockey, he's got everything he needs, the Observation Hockey, he's got every form of hockey in his deck, and you can continue to show the same events, which a lot of people were worried about giving too much info to our opponent, or how to keep an ample ample amount of events while also keeping a good amount of characters so you can actually attack aggressively into your opponent or what exact characters to play. And now with all the support we've seen, we've been able to build a strong deck profile. Number 3 would probably be Kuzan here. I think Kuzan is probably the third best deck. I would put it right there in the middle tier, where it's a good deck that can win locals or even a highly competitive format, but I don't think it's going to win as often as these other two. I think Rayleigh and Zoro, especially depending on the ban list, will be the best. Now, if they don't touch anything for us in the OP12 format, maybe they don't give our bans until OP13, I could easily see that happening because it is based on the Japanese meta, but we'll have to just see if that changes anything for us. Personally, I think Kuzan's up there as number 3. If anything does happen to Zoro or any of the big decks, Kuzan could easily rise up even higher. It's a very strong deck that's highly consistent. I don't think it's like way worse deck for them than Rayleigh or any of these other decks. I think it's definitely up there and one that just takes a good pilot. It's similar to decks that just need to know their matchup because the amount of times you can find the exact cards you need is up there, but it's knowing that you will need those early in the matchup and knowing your matchup's the best. Number 4, I would put Blue Purple Sanji. This is a personal pick for me. I would easily say that's very true. Blue Purple Sanji is a very strong deck that's very similar to Kuzan here and has the same idea, just a little bit weaker. I think Kuzan's ability to stop you from attacking just helps a lot and makes the deck a lot stronger. Personally, Blue Purple Sanji is very consistent and needs to know a lot of its matchup, but it just caves to certain matchups like the Zoro matchup. Having its characters rested and attacked into, if you don't have Dawn active to counter out early, you just lose. And if you're having to use a Gum Gum Giant early because Concaster does not work on characters, it only works on your leader, it just doesn't work. So for me, Blue Purple Sanji is definitely 4th. For me, number 5 is going to actually be Black Yellow Koala. I think some people may disagree saying that this deck is the worst deck, or maybe they say it's a better deck than where I've put it, but personally, I think we have to be honest with the actual standings in the competitive format. We have not seen this deck actually do anything in the Japanese meta, so it's down here towards the bottom. Personally, I will be no-lifing this deck a lot, trying to make it a lot better and have people see the consistency and strength of the deck. I think I found a personal engine that I've already told you about in the video, has been dropped down below in the description, that I think shows how strong this deck actually is. I've been able to beat Zoros, Kuzans, any deck out there, have ways to beat it, and I'm excited to continue to use this deck and see if I can make it better, similar to Zoro, how I want to continue playing Zoro, but Zoro's just been a lot more figured out. As a person who likes to build decks, I think building Koala is going to be really fun. I think I found a really good deck profile for the deck. Finally is the actual Rosinante leader. This leader is very underwhelming. It just doesn't have the support that it needs, especially here where we don't have all the promos that they have in Japan. This leader right out the box will not be good and not be very playable. I've already told you about the one promo that we don't know when we're getting. I know we're getting that 4 cost 5k, 2k counter promo. I know we're getting that. I believe at pre-releases or sometime soon. I know we're getting it. I don't know when exactly, but I believe that's when. But I know we're going to be getting it soon. We've been needing it for our other Supernova based decks, and now we'll have it for this deck. Specifically, it's okay. Again, I'm not in love with it. I think it's a good card, or a good leader. It's going to be fun to go off meta, maybe at a locals or just with some buddies. But if you're taking this to a regional, I would not expect to win. I would expect to have some fun and really goof off and just have a good time, which is totally okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. Even at big tournaments, going to have fun is actually the goal, and that's the whole reason we play card games. But at the end of the day, we have to be honest. This leader's not that good. It's down here at the bottom for a reason. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this deck profile or deck breakdowns, all these decks that we've talked about, and giving you some insight on each leader. I hope I could help you out and learn the OP12 meta a little bit better, either how to beat the deck, how to play against it, how to play with it, how to play as it, whatever you want to call it. I hope I was able to help you some good insight at OP12. I'm excited to play OP12 very soon. We'll have it August 22nd, so what, 20 more days or so, and we have OP12. I've got a case coming in myself, so I'm excited. I'm excited to maybe rip it, maybe leave it sealed. Should I open it or should I keep it sealed? It's the question we're going to ask. Anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Comment down below with videos you want to see in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.